Welcome to Statheros Homeschooling, where confident homeschooling thrives. Homeschooling is not school at home. It's a way of life. We encourage, empower, and equip you to cultivate the authentic homeschool lifestyle where freedom and relationships rule.
A unit study is one of the most powerful tools in a homeschooler's toolbox. It lets you take a single topic, anything that your kids are curious about, and weave it into every subject: reading, writing, science, history, art. It's all connected, and it's all meaningful. The best part? You do not need an expensive curriculum to do it. You can create your own, and it can be absolutely amazing. You can do this, you just need to learn how. That's exactly why we created our course, How to Create a Unit Study, to show you how. This is about homeschool empowerment. It's about raising the bar, not with more money or more stuff, but with intentionality, freedom, and creativity. You'll learn how to design studies that are customized to your kids, your values, and your goals. Whether you want to build a short study or an in-depth experience that lasts weeks, we'll walk you through it step by step. This course includes everything you need to do this on your own: a course journal to help you follow along, a workbook for deeper thought and planning, a unit study planner that walks you through every single decision, and 100 ready-to-go unit study ideas. If you're ready to homeschool with confidence, to build something rich and memorable, and to own your role as a leader in your child's education, this course is your next step. Check out the show notes or go to theumbrellaschool.com and let's build something beautiful.
Hey friend, welcome to Statheros Homeschooling. I'm Michelle and I'm here with Kim and Stacy. We're picking up a little bit where we left off. We had talked about organic ways to teach writing in your homeschool. Now we're going to discuss reading and math. Starting with reading, I highly recommend having a regular time to read aloud. Remember, there's no one right way to do this. You are your own unique homeschool, so you get to choose when is the best time for you, whether it's morning as a great way to kick off homeschooling, whether it's at lunchtime because the kids are already occupied eating, or if it's at night when they're getting ready for bed, and it can be a good way to end on a good note. We also like the idea of playing with literature. As after you've read a book, I saw my kids naturally do this. If we had read Swiss Family Robinson, they then started creating tree houses, thinking that they could live in them, but they were too little to live in them at the time.
Very fun. They could also cook something inspired by whatever they're reading. How many families have tried to make Turkish delight after reading Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? And invariably, it's like, why would Edmund fall for this? This stuff is terrible.
Don't try it.
Yeah. But it's fun. Cook something inspired by whatever they're reading.
My kids always grabbed their sketchbooks when I would read aloud, so they would do artwork, whether it could be artwork inspired by what we're reading or just their own creation.
They could also write alternative endings to the book they're reading, or make a play, act something from the book.
When we read books that were based in other countries, we would sometimes take a virtual field trip and check it out online, see what the fjords were like in Norway, what the spring may have been like, but then the summer, different spring, summer, and winter for all the skiing.
It's fun. Great idea.
You could also listen to music from the time period that you just were reading about in a book. You could also dress up as somebody from that book. If your child has any desire in making costumes, they could even sew something from that time period. Lots of ideas.
Absolutely.
The warning here is your kids may continue to go out in public dressed as King Richard for a while.
It's true.
My 8-year-old son did that for a very long time.
That's fantastic. I hope you have pictures.
I'm sure that year he was always in the King Richard shirt.
King Richard.
I don't know why it was King Richard. Did we read Robin Hood or something? I don't know. So funny.
You could also do a reading picnic. We've done that. You could grab a blanket, some snacks, a basket of random books or your favorite books, pull it outside somewhere under a tree, take it to the park with you, even inside under a table fort, and just spend some time reading. Sometimes when you have things like this, maybe you tell them you might set a timer and say, we're just going to lie here and relax and read our books for 15 minutes or a half an hour. So they know, especially if you have kids that like to wiggle and move around a lot, if they know there's a beginning and an end, it can be very helpful.
That's where hammocks are also helpful. If they have their own hammock, you go hammocking and they can wiggle all they want in their own hammock while they read their book.
I want a hammock.
You can come visit and I'll let you borrow a hammock.
Oh, thanks. I'll bring a book.
You could also play the skip a chapter game. Read the first couple chapters, have each child predict the end before finishing, of course, and then talk about it, then finish the book and compare their endings to the actual ending.
Very fun. You can start a book club with your friends. Discussion helps make connections with others, but also with the material. It encourages critical thinking, like they have to come to the group ready to go. It encourages deeper engagement because usually we try to ask open-ended questions and we try to explore different interpretations of the text. And so it's just very helpful to toss those things back and forth with their friends. This can be online. It can be at a coffee shop for older kids especially, but even younger kids. At a park, it can be anywhere. With teens, if you have a book club, you must include food, right? Lots of food. Always have the snacks handy. And maybe even top off your book session with a cooking contest. Bake a cake that represents this book. That was one idea I pulled from my sister, the English teacher. She had a contest and it was a big hit, big highlight in her district every year. Or just snacks that relate to the book. For The Hobbit, you could go simple and provide little mini meat pies and seed cakes and gold-wrapped chocolates and tea. It would feel very hobbity and it wouldn't be a ton of prep. I know there's other more elaborate ideas out there, but you can go simple too. Or just have friends over for 11sies like the Hobbits did. They had their 11sies and just have fun with that. You can have a book club with a twist. You can let them cast a movie version of the book and defend their choices. Who would they put in this role? Who would they put in that role? And have a little twist like that.
I always recommend book clubs are a great time to learn from diverse voices, and reading works from people from all over the world and all walks of life. Even the classics work at this time because you're discussing them with others. So hopefully they're engaging more with some of those.
Well, I think that's more and more important every day in the world we live in.
Don't forget to model reading yourself. Model reading for learning, for pleasure. Have books in your home. Go to the library frequently. Just surround yourself, your children, your family with books. A few simple ways to do this would be to use library online reservation systems. I did this a lot when the kids were little and I knew what books I wanted to use and I wanted to have them ready at a certain time. I would have to prepare a little bit, go on the library online reservation system a couple weeks early, put in the request, make sure the library has it, those sorts of things. But using the library saves money in the long run and it's a pretty easy way to get a lot of books in your home. I think we've talked about before, all of us have taken laundry baskets or multiple bags to the library.
Maximum amount.
Yes, checking out the maximum amount. And also, if you let your child get their own library card, you can check out more books.
Ask us how we know.
So just don't forget to plan ahead for popular books, seasonal books. Christmas books are going to be out around Christmas time. Just plan ahead. There are other things besides books, too. There's opinion pieces, and then you can have a friendly debate about the content. Keep it friendly. Especially as we have teens and they get their own opinions, right? They will be more than happy to debate opinion pieces with their parents. It can be fun. Just, of course, don't let it get out of line or out of control. But also letting your child talk freely about what they're reading, what they're seeing, anything in their life. This goes back to the relationship part that we always talk about. You can grow academically and grow your relationship at the same time.
Jill, what is it that you often say we create kind of a family language or vocabulary?
Yes, you'll find it really funny, especially when you read aloud with your kids or you're reading the same book even at a different time, is suddenly they're starting to finish each other's sentences with a quote from a book. Or even you find that even with the movies that your family watches together. Sometimes they lose me, but it's fun when I go, "Oh, I know what book you're talking about." But yes, they do. They have their own language and it becomes a family language. And it builds the relationships in your family that way. Even my husband has jumped in and said, "Wait, now I have to read that book too."
Huh?
Great.
Like Captain America, right? Where he says, I understood that reference.
Yes, yes.
That's awesome. We use that a lot in our house.
We always say to be sure to let them just read for pleasure, even if it's below their quote unquote grade level. That's fine. Or you look at a book and you think, wow, I don't think they're going to be able to handle that. Let them pick them out, read for pleasure, read just for enjoyment. Let them choose their books. It builds a love of reading, and it also it really builds their what we call reading stamina, how long they can read at a stretch. This is another tip I learned from my sister, the English teacher. I feel like I need to capitalize and hyphenate that now. But she gave me lots of good tips as our boys were growing up. Build their reading stamina simply by letting them read for pleasure. If that's at nighttime under the covers with a flashlight, go for it. If that earns them an extra half an hour of reading before bedtime, go for it. Let them read for pleasure. Audio
Be
books
careful.
as
Yeah.
well as graphic novels too. And in our house, there was a period of time, my husband came up with this kind of fun idea. He created a house rule. He said, for every hour that they would read, they could earn an hour of screen time, which seems a little extravagant now that I look back, but it worked for a while. But our younger, very enterprising son asked one day, came up to me and he asked if he read the Bible for an hour, could he earn 2 hours of screen time? I thought, that's very clever of you. So, yeah, I think we actually did that for a while. We want your kids in the Word. That's one way to do it. And then sometimes you can temporarily at least skip the more classic things unless you have a really good, maybe kid version. Sometimes the older classics can seem a little bit intimidating to some of our kids, and that's all right. Grab onto some more modern things, hook them into reading in general, and then later on you can circle back to older stuff. I think we've talked about that. Some of our older kids come circling back on their own later on, coming back and saying, wow, I never actually did read Moby Dick or whatever it was. I really should go back and read that, and doing that on their own, which is fun to see. So not that you toss them out the window at all. Of course, we need to have those kinds of things in there, but don't let it stress you out if you don't get to every single classic every single year.
I liked what you said about a hook for reluctant readers. One thing is just surrounding your kids with books, leaving books out on the coffee table that you think they might be interested in. As they're waiting for dinner, they may grab a book and look at it. I remember I had a reluctant reader. He was very capable of reading, but he really enjoyed me reading to him. And it was back to Swiss Family Robinson. We started reading that. And then I said, I really need to go make dinner now. He said, no, Mom, one more chapter. I said, you can read it. So he did. And then he read the rest of it. So that got him into reading, is you leave off at a tension point where they really want to know more, even though it was very hard for me to leave the book myself. If you leave off at that tension point, they really want to pick it up and read it. So that can help engage them in picking it up to read. But be careful, because the discipline could be that you have to take their book away from them.
Oh,
That was the worst punishment in our home. I need your book now. You need to do your math. I need your
Oh,
book now. You haven't mowed the yard.
that's great.
Hey mama, quick pause in the episode to tell you about something meaningful we're doing this summer at Statheros Homeschooling. It's our summer book club. Each week we're reading and discussing 2 powerful books by Ainsley Arnett. The Call of the Wild and Free, a heartfelt invitation to rethink education and reclaim wonder in your homeschool, and Wild and Free Nature, a beautiful guide packed with outdoor adventures to help your kids explore, discover, and awaken their curiosity. This book club is for new homeschoolers wanting a strong, soulful foundation, burned out moms needing a breath of fresh air, curious mamas ready to rethink school at home, and any mom who wants to homeschool with purpose, joy, and freedom. We'll meet 5 times over the summer on Zoom for relaxed, inspiring conversations with other moms who get it. You'll get a reading schedule, a printable activity guide, and encouragement to bring life and wonder back into your homeschool. Head to the show notes or theumbrellaschool.com/book club to join us. Now let's get back to our episode.
Let's go ahead and move on to math. Our number 1 tip with math is it's a natural progression and it's not scary. So many math books, so many curriculum, people are scared and they're intimidated about math, that it has to be serious and you have to sit down and do your math lesson. And it doesn't always have to be serious. We have some ideas that will help you keep it fun. And the first idea is have a math scavenger hunt. Have your child find things shaped like a 3D solid around the house. You can have a written scavenger hunt. You could do a verbal scavenger hunt, have them bring it back to you one by one. You could send older kids off for multiple things at a time, just anything to make math fun.
You can have a math chef day, pick a day of the week where you follow recipes, you practice with measuring, doubling ingredients. We talk about this pretty frequently. But simply just practicing with measuring spoons and cups, let them see for themselves how many quarter cups are in 1 cup. And is there a difference between the wet and dry ingredients? Yes, there is. How much of a difference? How many teaspoons are in a tablespoon? Younger kids can even play with measuring cups and things like that in the bathtub. You can quarts and pints and gallons, and it's just awfully fun.
You can have the same type of fun with a ruler and a yardstick and a measuring tape. They can practice perimeter. They can do conversions. This will then also help with fractions later on. But here in Colorado, you can measure the snow.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might lose that yardstick on your deck. But definitely don't forget to measure how tall they are in feet, in inches. And they can try seeing how tall they would be in centimeters.
Yes, don't forget to teach your children the metric system along with our measurement system. We are one of only 3 countries in the world that does not use the metric system. So knowing how to use that system will help them communicate more effectively as adults, possibly across countries or cultures, and when traveling. It's also the math of science and technology. This can help them in high school and college, et cetera, in science, possibly labs or anything that they might need to use some metric system math in college. This also helps fit nicely with place value, decimals, and fractions. And this just helps them make math more intuitive.
Right. Another sort of different thing to study that you wouldn't necessarily think is all that important these days is Roman numerals. And Roman numerals are pattern based, but not place value based like modern numbers. And so you approach it as a puzzle that they have to figure out. Decoding them strengthens their logical thinking and their pattern recognition, very much like a math puzzle. And learning Roman numerals is just, like I said, learning a secret code from the past. Once you know it, you start spotting it everywhere. Look at it's football, it's Super Bowl 57 or whatever it was. And your kid's the one that can read the number in Roman numerals. You see it all over the place. When traveling, switching gears here, have them figure out how many miles to the gallon you get on each stretch between fill-ups and how many miles from this city to that city and then from that city to the next city and add those together. How much in all? And so there's lots of ways to use math when you're traveling.
And that's a fun way to do it and practical. So it's real world, but can be fun. And you can have a contest between who can do it faster or who does it in even which system with miles or kilometers. We highly recommend playing games. You can change up card games like war, and instead of the highest number, it's the highest sum or the highest product that wins, putting 2 down. You can play dice games, rolling the dice and adding or multiplying. Puzzles are great for any of these things as well.
Of course, there's all the board games too. Monopoly, Counting Money, Yahtzee, teaches addition and probability. Clue for deduction. There's so many games out there. You can even make your own games. One of the games we played when my kids were little was a math game where it was an Egyptian pyramid. Everybody had their own pyramid. And so the number, you would draw a number and it would be put at the top. And then you would have to make your pyramid bases moving up using addition and subtraction for the younger kids. And then as they got older, you could add multiplication and division. So there's so many creative games out there.
Fun. And logic games. For the car rides, they can play Sudoku. They can play Mastermind together. Even chess is a logic game, and it helps their thinking skills.
Oh my goodness. I taught my younger son how to play chess when he was like 7. I think I beat the first game, and I haven't beat him in chess since then. And we're literally playing to this day. We play on an app, actually. Oh, and he beats me every single time. No one, but it's fun. It's fun.
Truthfully, even pool, you can use pool to teach geometry
Yes.
with the angles. Not that I'm capable of doing that myself, but I have heard people doing it.
You could also set up a mini store at home. They can use fake money or real money. Let your children practice making change, adding up purchases, calculating a discount. And for the younger kids, this lays a foundation for later working with fractions and decimals.
You can also do nature math. This is a lot of fun, just getting outside, playing with whatever you find. You can find patterns in nature. Think of tree rings on a fallen tree, Fibonacci spirals in flowers. You can count petals and leaves. You can put rocks in circles and create those beautiful symmetrical shapes. Build nature mandalas using symmetry and shapes. Lots of fun things if you just start to look for it.
And of course, learning your skip counting. This can take place wherever you are. My kids learn skip counting through a CD in the car on the way to other activities. Put it in, put it to music. Pretty soon they're going to know all their skip counting.
Yeah, that's fun. And then you can set up little math detective challenges. You can ask them, and this can be a mental math type of thing, or you might have little objects that you use. You can say the candy jar has 132 candies. Each kid takes 12 of them. How many kids took some? So you're figuring out these things. You're making up silly word problems, starring your kids. If Captain Sparkles finds 8 treasure chests with 47 jewels each, how rich is he? And you can make math memes. You can have them create math jokes and memes or TikToks these days. You'll be amazed at how much real understanding it shows. Obviously, this is really more with your older kids, but younger kids, you'd be surprised what they can come up with too.
There are some great books to help teach younger kids. I've even handed them to my older kids so that they could just build their confidence again of, oh, yes, I know what this is. The books there's a ton of the Circumference series, counting it, all the King's Tens, the Isle of Imiter. He's off the charts desserts for teaching the chart, how to read a chart, a bar chart, a graph chart, a pie chart, these different things. Teaches diameter, because I think he's circumference with Lady Diameter and their son Pi.
That's great.
You could also give your children a budget challenge. Give them a pretend salary and have them create their life. How much will they spend on rent? How much will they spend on groceries? And it's pretty eye-opening if you take them to the grocery store and they see how much groceries actually cost. It's another
And
real
utilities.
world skill right there. Feeding your family on the money you have. You can also give them an allowance and help them create their own personal budgets. Just one idea for that is the give, save, spend model. There's a lot of other ideas on this, but anytime you can give your child some control, it gives them more desire to learn and budget.
I read the Mary Hunt's book for kids, teaching kids how to manage their money. I'll have to think of the exact title, but it was very helpful. We did that give, save, spend. And I think she also threw in giving your kids sort of a budget for buying gifts for their friends because, oh my goodness, the birthday parties, when you have to set a limit at some point and learn how to navigate that. The categories change over the years, and some people use envelopes or we use jars. My husband made some fun little stickers on there that represented give, save, spend, and just have fun with that. But go ahead too and let them pick up odd jobs for money if that seems like something that they're ready for, such as lawn care. Our boys learned how to mow lawns and use a weed eater from a young age. Babysitting, shoveling snow, raking leaves, all the normal things, pulling weeds, and then let them manage their own actual money. Obviously, they can't get a real grown-up job until they're at least 14 or 15, but these younger ages, yeah, sometimes you have them do it for volunteer work and just to be a blessing. It's okay too to say, I have this job. I think Colleen's kids have a business picking up yarns from dogs, right?
I think so.
Yeah, which is fantastic. So those are some ideas there to let them actually have their own money.
And think about other real life skills or hobbies that involve math that you can reinforce with your children if they are interested at all in things like sewing, carpentry, landscaping, even hanging pictures, putting together furniture, painting a room, all the way up to starting a business. All of those involve math. So if they see, oh, I do need to do these skills in order to meet my goal, it gives them some ownership.
And then you're going to need to walk them into the real life survival math. We all have to pay taxes. They are going to have to understand how they do that and how to save so that when tax time comes, they have the money to pay for the taxes. Understanding interest rates, ability to compare those, whether it's important to take out a loan because it's a lower interest rate and you get more money by keeping your money in the bank. Comparing those two things, understanding how to pay credit card bills and understanding what that, when you pay just the minimum, what the interest rate on what you haven't paid equates to. Just the real life of bills. But notice they will also make mistakes. Each one of us have made mistakes with our own money. They're going to make them, help them understand that it's recoverable and how they can pick up the pieces and understand that they may have to put themselves on a tighter budget or work a little harder or things like that, because we can't expect them to be perfect. We want to help them walk through these challenges, but it's important to give them that grace and that space to make those mistakes and learn how to pick up the pieces from them. One thing that's important too is to help them open a bank account, maybe when they're just in middle school, where they can put in their babysitting money and things like that. But then as they hit high school and later high school, encourage them to get a real job and they can practice all their reading and writing skills because they'll write their resume and they'll do things like that. And then they get to put their real money into their own bank account.
Good tips.
Every kid is different, but that's the beauty of homeschooling. You get to flex with their needs and their interests. Some of these ideas will work for many of your kids, and some you'll start and realize, oh, I can do this in a different way than what was recommended. But don't be afraid to be weird or creative or spontaneous. Learning is an active lifestyle. It's meant to be alive, not locked inside the worksheets. You can find curriculum for all of the things we've recommended for math, for reading, for writing, but we just wanted to have fun with ideas to enjoy with your kids, with your family. So thank you for hanging out with us. And remember, you and your kids are writing your homeschool story. Enjoy the adventure.
Welcome to Statheros Homeschooling, where confidence replaces confusion and you're never left to figure it out alone. Our umbrella school, Statheros Academy, fulfills legal reporting requirements for Colorado families, and we offer annual homeschool evaluations in Colorado and Florida. But that's just one part of what we do. We also offer personalized coaching, official transcripts, high school planning help, and detailed transcript reviews so your student stays on track and set up for success. Do you need tools to stay organized? Our shop is stocked with homeschool essentials like planners, attendance logs, course description guides, report cards, unit studies, and even creative printables for younger learners. Whether you need parent training support, guidance on how to plan, ideas on how to teach, scheduling assistance, help with course planning, high school help, or just peace of mind that you're doing it right, we are here for you. Visit the show notes for more information and let us walk alongside you. Thank you for joining us on today's episode. We hope that you enjoyed the conversation and found it insightful. Be sure to check out today's show notes for all applicable links and additional resources. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. Your support helps us continue to bring you great content. Until next time, happy homeschooling.